had 3 huge fibroids. It's going to be very hard to conceive.
She immediately admitted me to the ER. It could be heart problems. And I'm like, oh my goodness, heart problems. I didn't want to even think that.
Cool fam. Thank you so much for coming over
Yes.
again and watching. Today we have an exciting video for
Very
you.
exciting.
But before we get into the video, remember to like the video,
Share the video,
comment down below,
and subscribe.
okay? All right, so let's get into the video. Today's video, we are going to start, we're going to give you guys a little story time about our pregnancy journey and the challenges and the wins that came along with it.
Yes.
I know that there's a lot of persons out there, a lot of women and couples that are struggling to conceive, and I want to just give you guys our story
Yes.
of hope and faith and how we believed in God and trusted God for a miracle, and He did it.
And He delivered.
So it all started when I went to a gynecologist. So we got married November 2021, November 1st, 2021. So, you know, as a woman, you're going to go to the gynecologist because, you know, you're going to start a family and you want to make sure that everything's fine with you. And so I went to the gynecologist a month before our wedding to find out, you know, if everything is working up in here. Because at the time I was 34. So, you know, I have no kids, and I've been in previous relationships before where we tried, but nothing happened. So, but I never went to check out as to why. I just went with the flow. So this time I wanted to check out and make sure and see, you know, what's going on. So I went to the gyno, and at the end of the visit, she advised me that I had 3 huge fibroids, and these fibroids were very large.
Right.
And I asked her if what I should do, and she was just like, I don't know, just go out there and see what happens.
She probably always deals with these type of patients. That's why she's coming on to you like that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when the doctors think you're just a number, so they don't really care. They're just delivering the message.
Right.
And it was very heartbreaking, and it was very discouraging the way she said it. And I asked her, like, how do we fix this? And do we do surgery or what? Anyways, she just said, just go out there and try and see what happens. And I'm like, okay, but she also said it's going to be very hard to conceive. She says it's going to be very difficult to conceive, or even if you do conceive, to actually carry a baby. So I went downstairs to my husband, who was waiting in the car, and I was bawling. And I'll never forget, it was raining crazy.
Cats and dogs outside. I remember because I got wet up like 2 seconds. I put down I had to throw something away, and I was just totally like submerged in water from head to neck right here. And the thing about it is, she came down, and I think I had an umbrella waiting for her to come down into the car. And then she finally broke down to me and started crying and told me that story.
Yeah.
But it wasn't from that point. I was trying to encourage her and tell her that, hey, you know, that it's just her perspective of how she deals with clients. And that's not what God says. Literally, I believe it was before our marriage, like right before our marriage, I decided in my head and told Lydia that I was going to fast for a week straight. And I did that. I think we was taking marriage counseling just before, you know, before we went into to go get married. And literally I promised myself I wasn't going to eat anything. And pretty much was just drinking water, and it was the hardest week of my life. I remember like it was the Monday, Tuesday. Remember Tuesday? I told you that I was just looking at food and my stomach was just.
Day 2 is always the hardest. Day 2 is always the hardest.
My stomach was just disagreeing.
Yeah, but it really hit hard, and it was very discouraging. And at that point, I said to my husband, I might not be able to bear a child for you. And he looked at me and he said something that was very profound that no other man has ever said to me. He said to me, it's not about what you can bear for me as it relates to children. I love you for you. And that was very comforting, and that gave me some relief. But still as a woman, you still feel like, say, you want to have a child for your husband at the end of the day,
And
so
God has the final word, guys. Regardless of the fact, God has the final word. And even though it may seem like it's like dawn of the day or whatever, but it's going to be light and coming forward. And that's exactly what happened. And you can
so remember the rain, right? Remember the rain on the day we got that news. Don't forget that rain.
Right. Keep it right
the
there.
Rain is very significant in our journey. So pretty much, anyway, got the news. I said, all right, at least we know. You still want to marry me? Of course, he said yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So November rolled around and we got married. So on our wedding day,
it started out as she got there before me. I think she got there around like 12 or 11 o'clock in the day. And literally, when she got there, it started raining cats and dogs once again. Yeah. And I had to show up, I think, sharp for a certain time. I think like 2 o'clock. And literally, me coming there, it was just submerged in water. I was like running over puddles when I was driving.
It was raining all day. So pretty much what happened is we were supposed to have a outside wedding.
Yes. And
it was on a beautiful bay with the lake, overlooking the lake.
Right.
Very nice, old school, old farm looking house on the lake. It was beautiful. We'll insert pictures for you. And pretty much it said, like, I've been watching the weather all that week, and it said it's going to be 100% chance of rain on that day. And we were like, okay, fine. I was kind of hoping it would change around. But anyways, the day rolled around, and it kept, what it said. So it was raining. Myself and my bridesmaids were getting dressed at the hotel, makeup done, rain. We left the hotel to get to the venue, and it was raining still. But for some reason, when I got to the venue, we all got to the venue. I had a peace over me, like, what, come high or low, me and married a man here today.
Right, because we've been through a lot.
It don't even really matter. You could have rain right anyway you want rain. You can rain or you want rain. Me and murder man today. So normally me get panicky over things. I me get worried over things easily. Like if things don't go home in my head or I want it go.
Right.
And me normally get panicky like, oh my God, But for some reason that day I was not panicking. I was looking at the event coordinator. I was like, y'all not gonna set up on the so y'all not gonna set up the chairs on the corridor or something, or the veranda or something? The patio? What not do? And the Serena fall, and she looked at me and she said, Leah, we waiting until the last second to make that decision.
Right.
Because everybody was on one accord and praying for it to be the rain to stop. And we were praying too, but to know that I think God sent some of the best people in our lives for that day.
Exactly.
Everybody was rooting for us. Everybody kind of knew our story, and everybody wanted a beautiful day, including the event coordinators. And shout out to Messi.
Yes.
And Shonda. And it was just everybody was just on one accord. So Stephen and his guys arrived. Yes.
So me, my father-in-law, and my brother-in-law showed up, and we stopped and we turned off to the side of the road because it was raining like cats and dogs like crazy. And he said, you know what? We're going to continue on. We're going to go to the place. It was like maybe another 10 minutes down the road. As soon as we got there, that's when day broke. And we actually saw the sun coming out. And I was like, wow.
So literally 15 minutes before the wedding started, the wedding was supposed to commence at 3. And literally 15 minutes before the wedding started, the sun just came out, dried up all the rain
Right.
And this we
Made
have to,
everything lush, made everything beautiful. It seemed like a dream.
it's
Like,
everybody was in awe, and then the guys, then the coordinators just started putting the chairs out on the lawn and setting up, and the florist was amazing, or decorator was amazing, or even coordinator. They were all just in tune and
one accord.
wanted us to have the most perfect day
Wedding, yes.
of all, and it turned out to be
Just
the
that.
best day of our lives. So the sun came out, and that's just God showing us that, hey, you know what, there are going to be storms, but then the sun will come out.
Right.
And right before I walked down that aisle, that sun came out. So God was in control that entire time, because what, we let him control it.
Exactly.
Literally, we said, you know what, we don't even, this is not our doing. God knows what he's doing. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain, and that's just it.
Yeah.
And we let go and let God, and God came through right when we thought, you know, we were going to have our wedding on the patio or something, which would have been fine.
Right. Still,
but
the fact.
There's going to be storms, and it's a testament to our relationship.
Yes.
All right. Fast forward, we had our wedding. It was beautiful. We'll insert some clips for you.
I know.
And now we're gonna, of course, honeymoon. So we're gonna try. So back to the pregnancy journey. We're gonna try to get to conceive, right? So boom, you know, honeymoon night, da 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 da, all that honeymoon week. We're trying, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Now I've never gotten pregnant before, so I don't even know if I can get pregnant. But I hope and pray I could. I started taking prenatal vitamins months before. Yeah. That is me walking in my faith and walking in and trusting God that, hey, listen, I'm taking these prenatal vitamins for a reason, because I see something that, even though I can't see it, I know the vision that God gave me.
That's right.
All right, so we tried. I think, and I've never taken a pregnancy test before. I've always just waited for my period or something to roll around, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not pregnant. But this time I decided to take a pregnancy test, like a couple weeks after, and we went to Stephen went to Walgreens. He got the pregnancy test. There were two pregnancy tests in the little box.
Yeah.
So I took one, and of course I was nervous, and it came back and it said not pregnant. And I broke down.
Yeah.
I cried. I almost died.
But I was there for her, and I consoled her, and I told her, hey, it's not the first time. This is just going to be one of the times where you're just going to have this. So don't let this just roll off your shoulders. So we tried again, and we tried again. And you know what? We went to church, I think, the following
no.
Sunday.
You can't. Skip that part there.
Okay, go ahead.
So we kept trying.
Yeah.
Remember, I know we just get married in November. So these are December happenings now. And not to be too in detail, but Christmas Day roll around. Like, I literally remember. But anyways, Christmas Day roll around, and we did the do. Let's just say that. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. But I don't know when we get this in my head. It's somebody. I don't know where in my life journey we pick up this. So it's say 3 days after you do the do. 3 days later, the sperm get to the egg, and you'll know if you're pregnant. I don't know. So, of course, I'm sitting there and I'm like, should I take a test? I have one more test in the box. And then I said, all right, I'm going to go to church. It was the first Sunday, so I'm not going to take the test. So we went to church the first Sunday of 2021. You know, first Sunday church service.
Right.
And I remember it was altar call, and make sure careful, because I don't want to forget this, because listen, God is so Sunday. Good. We went to church, and church done, an altar call come roll around, right? And the pastor asked, does anyone need prayer? And I remember going up to stand in proxy for my brother. So that means I went up to the altar to ask for prayer for my brother that's in Jamaica. And while I was there, the whole time I was at church, my husband don't even know this. The whole time I was at church, all upon my mind is that I want to go home to take this pregnancy test. I wasn't gonna take it with him this time. I was literally just gonna do it on my own. And if it's a pregnancy, if it's not pregnant, because I didn't want the disappointment with him and all that. So I went up for prayer, and before I could even utter the words that I'm up here for prayer for my brother, the pastor said to me, Pastor Glenn said to me, God said, throw away all the pregnancy tests. Listen, and that may go up the final. But when God have a message for you, I have a message for you. Listen, I never told anybody that I was going home to take another pregnancy test. My husband didn't know. The pastor surely did not know. He didn't even know we were taking pregnancy tests. But when God has a message for you, He'll find His vessel in which He wants to bring forth that message to you. And I thought I was going up there for my brother, but that's the message I got. And I broke down at the altar because I knew that was God speaking to me directly. Because I know what I know.
That's right.
And then he prayed and prayed and prayed and said, God said to enjoy your marriage. You just got married a month ago. It's okay. He will add to you as time goes on, but He doesn't want you to worry. And I cried, of course, and I gave God the glory and the praise up there. And I tell us, say, when I went home, driving home, and that's when I confessed to my husband that I was actually going home to take the next pregnancy test. Yeah. All right. So that was the first Sunday in 2021.
Yeah.
All right. My period usually, so I didn't take the test, guys. So I left it alone. My period usually rolls around, and it's always exact around the 12 or so of the month, right?
So this one, I think this one morning, I think it was a time when I was like getting ready for work or something like that. She tells me that, oh, my throat is dry. I don't know why my throat is dry. Steven, go get me some water. So I went to go get some water from downstairs, and literally she drank the water. She was like, my throat's so dry. So I went on my phone and went to go research why her throat's so dry. And literally the first thing popped up is that she could be pregnant.
So listen, I was going through it. So my period, so it was like the 12 came, and I'm like, babe, I feel the feeling like it's supposed to come, but nothing's coming.
Right.
I've never missed my period before. And I'm like, this is weird, but okay. So I'm like, should I take a test? And babe said, no, give it until Friday. So that was, I think, the Monday. He said, give it until Friday to take the test.
Yeah.
And my body was aching, but I thought, because we have a catering business too, guys.
Right.
So that weekend before, that Saturday, we had cooked, and it was a lot of orders.
Right.
And we were tired. So I felt my body was just going through the fact that I was just tired.
Yeah, she thinks she was just tired from doing a whole bunch of orders and was just rolling over to the next day.
Yeah, and the next day.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, the 12 rolled in, no period.
Right.
The 13 rolled in, no period. The 14 rolled in, no period. Friday came, and because I'm listening to my husband, I want to be obedient to my husband. So I said, I'm not gonna take the test. Now, let me do what me want to do. But for this reason, I'm saying no, I'm not gonna take the test, because he said don't take the test. And he's looking out for my best interest. He don't want me get disappointed again and go through the stress that I go through before. So Friday morning couldn't come earlier before me wake him up 5 o'clock in the morning. I said, babe, it's Friday.
Right.
Let's take the
right
test.
in my face, like, babe, it's Friday.
Yeah. I said, come on, let's go take the test, because it's Friday. 5 o'clock now. But granted, it's a Thursday. It's a Thursday night. I couldn't lie down on my back. I couldn't lie down on my side. I feel like one truck run over me and back up and run over me and back up. I don't know my body that go through it. I don't know where that go on. But anyway, Friday morning, we wake him up 5 o'clock, and we went to the bathroom and take the test. And we'll insert that video, a piece of that video. We found out we were pregnant.
Yeah. And literally, we just gave God the thanks. We just started praising God, because we did all this moment, went through all this doubt of the gynecologist telling her that, hey, just go and try, like nonchalantly, and all the disbelief from way back when in the past.
Exactly.
And God already knew it was going to happen. I already know what's happening.
I was in shock when I saw the pregnant on the thing. I stood still. He was singing, "You pregnant, you pregnant,
Yep.
you pregnant," and I'm just, that's all I could. I was, I froze. You never hear something just freezing at one moment and can't move. It's like my brain are working, but my body just can't move. And I'm like, I'm gonna feel cool. Instantly, I feel cool. Cause I never see that before. Cause I never take a pregnancy test yet, except for the one like a couple weeks before that.
Mm-hmm. So we were just so amazed with it. We came up to this. We do Bible studies usually, and we came up to this one Wednesday where we have to do testimonies. And I believe a few more members did testimonies, and it was this was my week to do a testimony, and I did it. And literally, it's from my past, but that's another story in head.
Yeah.
But it was one testimony. I did my testimony. We finished, and literally, we wanted to go tell Glenn and Pastor Jackie.
Pastor Glenn and Pastor Jackie.
Yes, Pastor Glenn and Pastor Jackie. And literally, we was discussing and we saying thank you for doing the testimony and afterwards. And Glenn was like, is that all they call for? They already just say thank you? It's like, no. So literally, Jackie had it on her mind already. She was like, so you're pregnant?
Right.
I was just like, you ain't gonna wait for us? I was
Right,
just like,
right,
da 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 da. And we actually showed the test to the camera and said pregnant. And literally, all I heard was Terry Ann and Jackie saying, oh, I couldn't hear anything for like 5 minutes. I went deaf. So,
mind you, they were praying for, like, we had a lot of people praying for us.
Yes.
As a married couple, and as a courting couple before we got married. And trust me, we couldn't have a better team of prayer warriors.
Telling you.
Terry Ann, Pastor Jackie, Pastor Glenn, Jamal, Tashira, Tier, Adrian, Melvin,
Everybody
I'm forgetting
CRC.
nobody. Everybody at CRC.
Yes.
Remember, I think the week before we got pregnant, when I went up for prayer with another sister of mine, church sister. Her name is Adrienne. That is a whole other story. But we went up together. We got prayed over together.
Yes.
And we both got pregnant. It
The
sounds
same
like
time.
the same time because our due dates were the same. We
Yeah.
had the same due
Lined
date.
up the same day.
So we go for prayer one Sunday together and pray over our womb. All the women in the church held us to pray over our womb because, you know, and prayed over our womb. And we left with our husbands and then announced we were pregnant with the same due date. Tell me that's not God. If you don't believe in God, that's God right there. So.
Tell me.
So, anywho, so now I'm pregnant. And now I know I'm pregnant. And we glad. And we trying to figure out, like, Lord have mercy. I don't even know. The doctor said this. And the devil started painting pictures in your mind when God already gave you a vision. Don't allow the devil to paint pictures because that's what he does.
Right.
And vision is higher. Vision is more important.
Mm-hmm.
Vision is bigger than pictures.
That's right.
And so March rolls around. Hubby took me on a little birthday getaway thingy and I was fine. When I came back from my birthday, I noticed that I woke up one morning and I was bleeding. And I was devastated because it was clots coming out. So we rushed to the emergency room.
Yeah.
And had to wait like 4 or 5 hours to be seen at the emergency room.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
And
literally, they kicked me out because
it was COVID protocols.
COVID just hit. It was really serious at that time. It was about 12. We came there 12 a.m. in the night.
Yeah,
and
late.
Literally, we was trying to get waited on. We had to sign up, and then we waited for like 2 hours. And she had pain, still currently had pain, and I was the only one there to soothe her, make her feel okay. Hey, she had to stand up a certain way, so I had to help her up. And literally, I think one of the nurses peeped it out and got some grouchy nurse to come over and say, "Hey, sir, if this is COVID protocols, you can't stay here because blah blah blah." And so I had to leave. I was trying to tell her the situation that, hey, I'm here for my wife.
Yeah, but they said that he had to leave.
So literally, I was outside the window with my phone, just texting her back and forth, monitoring her, and just watching her each step. Because literally, I could walk from window to window and see where she's at. So that's exactly what I did. I was walking from here, I saw her here. Walk from there, saw her there, saw her get blood drawn, saw each step of the way. Even though that she didn't know I was there, I was
He's my
right
guardian
there.
angel.
You know,
and and pretty much I was having contractions, and I was only what 2-3 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So to be having contractions is
that early.
Something's not right, and I was bleeding, and I was like, what is this? What is this? So anyways, the doctor took me in, and that was the worst experience ever. Anyways, when I got a room and they took me in there and they did their checks, I don't want to be too graphic, but it was horrible. And they checked and saw that, hey, this seed that was planted up in here,
it's staying planted.
He was fine.
He was just kicking about. He was actually making a ruckus like, what's all that? Just move this, man. Just get out of here. Basically, to tell the truth, what happened there was one of the fibroids ruptured. Let's see, when you have
that's what they suspect.
That's what they suspected, but one of the fibroids out of the 3 ruptured. It's like when you don't have enough, I guess, fuel, or they're feeding off your body,
the blood supply,
because the babies start to feed off of it, and once that happens, one of the fibroids will rupture, degenerate.
But remember, they said that when you get pregnant with the size fibroids that I had, the baby, it's possible that the baby won't get enough of the blood supply, and that's how a lot of babies pass away or die in the mom's stomach, because the fibers are sucking most of the blood supply.
But Steve was a true.
I don't know.
Steve was the one to just be like, you know what, you're not taking my food. And he was just like,
CJ is just a
boxing
fighter.
away like we were. You know what I mean?
CJ is just a fighter. He's determined. He's strong.
Even now,
he motivates us.
Yeah.
And when they tested, when they did the ultrasound, and I was looking at the thing, CJ's feet were going like this. He was fine in there.
Yeah.
My amniotic sac, it was sealed. Nothing was broken. So they suggested that it's probably one of the fibroids degenerating. But it came with a lot of pain, and it came with a lot of contraction pain. So for 1 whole week, guys, 1 whole week of contraction, we couldn't go work.
In and out.
We couldn't sleep in the same bed with my husband. I feel in one different room because me literally no sleep. There's no, my eye no lock. Cause why? If me lie down on my left, it hurt. If me lie down on my right, it hurt. If me lie down on my back, it hurt. You know, me can't lie down on my belly. So I literally just sat up in bed, crying, listening to gospel music, crying, like literally can't move, slumped over. And all they gave me was painkillers, which they couldn't give me anything too strong because I was pregnant. So I literally I did not even take the painkillers after day one. After day 1, it never worked.
Yeah.
And me I say, but you know, me I ask God, like, all right, you plant a seed here, God. What are you trying to say?
Right.
What are you trying to say? And then the only thing I could do, and call the pastor and they pray. As a matter of fact, we didn't tell nobody we was going through this. Like, unless the day in the house that you don't know we going through this.
Right.
So our pastor didn't know until like day 5, because there was a party that we were supposed to attend, and we couldn't go, so we had to tell them, hey, this is what's going on.
This, that, and the third.
But we were praying on our own, and we were fasting on our own, and we were trying to get through this on our own, and it was rough.
Yeah, it was very rough.
Because me think me that lose my child. That's what me think. Because the doctors even said everything looks like a miscarriage, but not miscarriage. So they don't know really what it is.
So
that's when it's unexplainable. It's God.
So it comes around when afterwards she was feeling much better. She was progressing as far as like she didn't have any more bleeding, and she was feeling a little bit more better. Now come around, it was just about the cusp of us doing the baby shower, and literally I was feeling a certain way. Like I literally was having.
Oh no, it's a gender reveal.
Gender reveal. Sorry, gender reveal. And I was feeling a sort of way. I was feeling a way like I couldn't breathe. Literally, I would go to sleep at night, and my my chest, I feel like I couldn't breathe fully, or feel like I was kind of suffocating a little bit. But then I would just start breathing normally. Literally, Lydia would record me, and I would sound like I can't breathe that good. So I went to the doctors, our private doctor, primary care doctor, and she said that I might have bronchitis. So,
because you had a lot of cough with it.
Yeah, I had a lot of coughing. I was coughing like crazy, and literally I would like. She said I would skip breathing or stop breathing for a little bit, and then continue to breathe.
And we have videos I'll probably insert.
Yeah, and I just couldn't believe it. So I went to work, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would have to breathe in and out, and I couldn't move like that. Like, it would be hard for me to move fast, like I'm a regular pace and all that type of stuff.
This is all while we're pregnant.
Yeah, all while we're pregnant. So she's up, and I'm currently kind of pacing going down. So I literally said, you know what? I gotta get a better answer than this, because each day I couldn't sleep. I had a cough, had a cold that I'll keep coming up, and I tried to take everything.
Yeah.
Theraflu. I even took hot water in a big bowl and put my head over a
I
towel.
don't know what we not
try
buy.
to see what I could do to free up my lungs.
We buy the vaporizer, something you put over your face.
I'm telling you everything.
We buy humidifier. We buy. I don't know what we not use.
We use Theraflu, we use everything.
We boil Cerasy tea, ginger tea, garlic tea. Because remember, the doctor said a bronchitis.
Right. So
and
you're thinking that
and she gave me bronchitis pills.
Right. So my foot was getting swollen.
So
and
now,
all this type of stuff.
right.
I literally, you know what, I had to get a second guess. So I went back to that.
Sometimes sometimes your body is telling you something, and I feel like doctors are great, but they make an educated guess sometimes if they don't know what's wrong with you, and if it is that, you tell them your symptoms, and then they say, hey, this is probably what you got.
Right.
But when his feet started swelling up,
my feet started swelling. That's when Lydia started doing research and telling me that it could be heart problems. And I'm like, oh my goodness, heart problems. I didn't want to even think that at that time. So, but I wanted to be there for her and my children, so I knew I had to go do something. I went back to the primary care doctor, and they did an X-ray, or
they did a chest X-ray.
Chest X-ray, and found out that my heart was enlarged with
and it was encased in fluid.
Basically, they had take some water pills and take some other stuff, and I started taking some water pills, and it would relieve it. But then they recommended me go to the hospital to go get checked out. So I went to Franklin Square Hospital to the cardiologist to go do a stress test. And literally, she took my pulse, she did everything, run my diagnostics, and she found out that my heart was beating irregularly. She immediately admitted me to the ER, which I had to do by myself because I drove there.
Right, and she was saying, she was literally, shout out to Dr. Alston.
Yes.
You saved his life.
Yes.
Or you played a key role. Literally, the primary care doctor sent him to the cardiologist. We couldn't even get a date. This is something that was so urgent, and we could hardly even get a date.
Yeah, because of COVID.
To see her.
COVID was trapping up everything.
We got a date by just begging, like, hey, this is emergency, somebody needs to see me. We got a date.
Right.
He went to the cardiologist, which now we know he shouldn't have even driven himself there.
Right.
Because he could have had a heart attack. When he got there, the doctor took his pulse. The doctor said, your heart is beating at 115, whatever. And it was beating way too fast.
Yeah.
You cannot do a stress test today. You cannot get on that treadmill. You need to go to the emergency room.
So literally, I went downstairs, and I had to take my time because each maybe 10 paces I would have to catch my breath, and so I had to stop by a wall. And then I finally made it to the car, got in, took another 5 minutes break, started the car, drove myself over because it's right across the parking lot I went to, and got out the car, took another break, walked another 5 paces, took another break, made it to the front door, and then I walked in, and then I walked to the nurse's, lounge or whatever. She tells me, are you okay? Because literally I had my head up in the chair like this, breathing, She dropped everything and said, "Nurses, everybody, get him on a stretcher right now." Literally, they had me suited up, and I had to go draw blood immediately. And they got me a room. They said they was gonna admit me for a week because they found out that I have congestive heart failure. And
at 30,
33 at that time, 33. And then I had to tell Lydia. I told Lydia. She kind of broke down. And I tried to leave her. She literally said she was going to get everything because I was staying in the hospital. So she literally, her pregnant self, went to the dollar store, got like a little suitcase, everything, put water in it, got me food, got me, I think she got me a hot pot down the street, which is a Jamaican restaurant. She got me all this type of stuff in there.
Because the thing is, we didn't plan that you're gonna, like, the plan was for you to go do your stress test and come home.
But
and it turned into a whole 2 weeks
ordeal,
of Stephen being in the hospital. So of course I have to pack his suitcase with all his stuff that he needs and take it to him on a daily. And with COVID, they had like visiting hours restrictions and stuff like that. And this is me being pregnant at 6 months, and I can just only imagine what you were going through in there. But see, Stephen know how to hold stuff together, but I know he'll tell how he was feeling in there. But I was just thinking like, God, I'm pregnant.
You gotta see that I'm trying to be not only the bigger man of the situation, but the man and the guy, the protector, the one that's taking care of her. But sometimes you just gotta tell the truth. Matter of fact, not sometimes. All the time you gotta tell the truth. Make sure and express that to your wife, guys. All the time you gotta tell the truth. Because you have to be one with your significant other.
But maybe if you broke down, I probably would have broke down even worse. If I saw you, knowing the type of person I am, I tried not to break down in front of you, but it did happen. So there would be days where I would leave work, and all I would think of is just, I want to go to the hospital. And I would go to the hospital, and I realized that like every 5 minutes somebody was in there sticking him with a needle, pulling blood, they run maybe 1 million checks.
Like,
because they were trying to figure out what caused this.
In that process, that they was sticking me with needles, they couldn't find anything that actually like could tell me what's wrong with my congestive heart failure or what caused it. They're trying to run my blood work. They run my blood work like 3 times a day, so they stick me like maybe 5 times a day. Took like 3 vials each time, and they came back as inconclusive. So they would keep on running tests.
It wasn't COVID. He never had COVID before. He never had any other viral diseases. You know what I don't know. So here I am trying to go back and forth in the hospital, come home. And there were days where I would drive back from, anytime I had to leave Stephen at the hospital, it was hard.
Very hard.
He didn't want me to go. I didn't want to go. But of course the nurse is like, you gotta go. And every time I would drive home, I would cry in the car. There were days where I didn't even want to come home because it was just me. And I'm not used to not coming home without Stephen being here. This was different. And I used to pray, and I said, God, whatever is going on in my mind, please separate it from my body, because what's in my belly is precious, and I don't want to stress this baby and have a preterm labor.
Right.
So my prayers always, God, separate my emotions from this baby, please. But because it come up point where I couldn't even hold it.
Yeah.
I couldn't hold the emotions.
And I would try to soothe it. Even though I was in the hospital, I would be like, baby, it's okay. I'm going to be just fine. Just fine.
They even did a surgery on you.
Yeah, they did the process of where they had a test to see what actually caused the congestive heart failure. So I forgot what it was called. There was some type of tubing they would have to stick in my vital
in your
veins,
pelvic, and put it up to your heart.
my artery veins. And yeah, they would stick one in my hand right here, all the way up to my heart, and another one in my pelvis area, all the way up to my heart, the artery veins. And they would actually see if any type of liquid or fluid was building up in my veins to be able to deduce that I had congestive heart failure. They couldn't find a thing, nothing. And they came back, and they had 10, 11 doctors come in my room and literally tell me that they could not find a thing wrong with me. That's,
I think that test was a test to see if your arteries were blocked or if there's anything blocking anything. But apparently later on they found a blood clot.
They found a blood clot in my heart because they first was checking my lungs to see if I had a blood clot in my lungs.
But there was none.
There was none there. But they found a blood clot in my lower left chamber of my heart, and that was kind of hard to take because I was like, do you have to do surgery? And I was thinking that all that type of stuff in my head, you know.
And then there were days where I would leave Steven and he was fine in the hospital, and then I go the next day and he has a tube up his nose, and I'm like, why is this? To me, when Mr. Tube up nose, I think it have progressed for the worse, and I'm like, no, God, please. And we would pray, and there were days where we would eat dinner together in the hospital room and dance and just play games, you know, even though Steven could hardly get up, because if he got up and moved, his heart couldn't take it. It was too much. If Steven walked 2 steps right there, he was out of breath.
Yeah, but
it was that bad.
When I got to the hospital, I was on this medication called Lasix, and basically I was on the IV of it, so I would go to the bathroom constantly and put the IV on me, you know. So that actually was relieving the congestion or the fluid buildup that was actually in my heart chamber.
Right.
So with that, I was progressing to slowly but surely on a path to just getting better, and I had more breath intake. I could breathe. I can actually go to sleep now because literally I couldn't go to sleep the whole time of when I had problems back in the house when they said I had bronchitis.
Listen, forget the part there.
Yeah.
Steven, there would be a whole month Steven asleep. The moment Steven would lay down,
I'll have to get back up and I'll start coughing like crazy.
The moment he closed his eye, it's just crazy coughing.
And it was like the deep coughing, like you trying to get
sleep, no go on.
something off your chest, you know what I mean?
But I tell you, the devil is a liar, you know. The devil come for me first, you know. And it no work because God bigger. And then boom, out of nowhere, Steven have heart problem. We're like, what? This is 6 months into our wedding, 6 months into our pregnancy. Like, before we got married, we were fine.
Right.
Nothing never touch we, nothing never do that. Everything did alright.
Yeah.
But you see the devil mad when they do things the right way, you do things God way. But that's why I'm saying, why?
So, just to bring it back, this is just like the rain that was in the wedding, and then it turns to sunshine.
So you see the connection of the rain?
So
it's like God was foretelling us that it's gonna be some storms coming, but the sun always will come out.
Yes.
I mean, I tell you, say, even going forward now when we face trial and tribulations, it's like the wedding day. The wedding day. The wedding day. Rain that tear, that thing said, I don't know when rain fall upon your wedding day a blessing, but the rain that tear was a storm outside, and then 15 minutes before the bride came up, the sun came out.
That's right.
So that's the significance of our relationship and God's promise in our lives. So we always go back to the wedding day when things get rough.
Right, because it always is like...
Thank God for that.
Yes. That was like him speaking. He was preaching himself the whole day.
Right, pretty much. And then when Stephen was in the hospital now and everything got boiled down now, I mean, I said, when am I gonna let you out? When am I gonna let you out? And when they finally came home and I went to pick him up that day.
Cicadas was out. It was crazy. It was cicadas everywhere. The thing about it is, let me tell this little...
Cicadas are little insect, grasshopper little things that come out every 17 years.
Right, so quick inclusive date. I was actually born in the year of cicadas. 1987,
the last
November
time.
14th. I literally was cicadas, but of course not November, but that summer was cicadas. So just keep that in your head.
So, when Stephen left the hospital, they literally pumped 40 pounds of liquid off of Stephen. He was 40 pounds lighter in 2 weeks from being in the hospital. Remember, the water, his heart was encased in the liquid, and what happened is that his heart was not pumping that liquid out fast enough, so the heart started, it's like he was drowning in his own body, which is why whenever he laid down to sleep, that liquid would come up, he would cough and he couldn't breathe. and then it started flowing into different parts of his body where his legs started swelling up.
So my heart was beating erratically because it was working 2 times.
Yeah.
Two times the amount.
His heart was big.
So it was trying to take a break sometimes. So that's why I build up some blood in there and cause the blood clot to build in my lower left chamber. Bless you. And it would that's the blood clot I had to take I forgot warfarin for, and I literally had to go back and forth to the hospital each 2 weeks just to get monitored on if my blood levels was thin enough to be able to go on warfarin.
Yeah. So that's another thing. And then them send him home with 1 bag of pills.
Yeah.
Stephen was taking like 10 pills a day.
10 pills each day.
Plus 1 injection in belly way. Need to administer. Listen, I don't like needle.
You don't like needles.
And Stephen grew up like needle after this. Not like it, but him comfortable with needle because the amount of juking was Stephen getting at the hospital.
I had this phobia of needles since I was a little kid. I am not going to get a needle. I'm not going to go to the hospital and get a needle. Ever. So
you got needled up for life.
Yeah.
For that 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I had to inject in his stomach area that medication like twice a day or something like that, and that was scary. So at the end of the day, you know, Steven's now out, and we're like, all right, now the journey starts, right? So he came home and we had all his pills organized and ensuring that everything was taken on time. And
she was giving me the shots in my stomach currently. And literally, she wanted to go take me somewhere special because she's like, you know what?
Erks bricks.
No?
Me no want to go nowhere weird. You wanted to go to Rehoboth Beach because you say, from in the hospital and the time I wind down, you wanted to go to Rehoboth Beach. And I said, babe, you can't drive.
But the thing about it is, I'm getting to this part though. I'm getting to that part. Hold on.
But the thing about it is, I said, you know what? We only live once. You see, because the fact that I felt like I was gonna lose my best friend. Listen, not compared to that. So you say anything in the war, me that say, even though me gonna say, no, me think it over and say, alright, yeah, let's go because today can be the last day. I mean, I want to know say you had a request and it never get fulfilled. That's why we do it.
And I was definitely excited to go too because I was up to go, literally. And the thing about it is, it was just COVID season. Cicadas just came out, so nobody wanted to go out.
No.
So guess what? The hotels was cheap. It was like what? Like maybe like $40.
Yeah, the hotels
$30. So he was like, you know what? We're going. So
Rehoboth Beach is like a 2.5 hour drive from where we live in Delaware. So it's in Delaware. Beautiful. It's somewhere where we always go. It's like one of our favorite places when we want to just go somewhere.
Get away, you know?
We always just boom, let's go. We spend a week and come back.
Yeah. So literally, I, with my big self, always have to drive because I'm like, yo, Lydia never has to drive on the highway if I'm there.
Nope.
So
I don't have to drive, period, if Steven's here.
So I'm trying to be on the road, and I know she wants to book road sometimes too. You know, she wants to go and conquer the road too. But I'm like, all right. Sometimes she just tell me, hey, you know, I would have took this turn, that turn happened. I'm like, no. So I'm driving all the time. I'm literally starting off the day. And we get up, and we was going to grab a quick breakfast on the road. So we get on the road, 95, we hitting up to go to Delaware. We get to a certain stopping point, I think, where we go to, like, Rural Farms.
No, you need to talk about it in the morning first.
What happened?
Morning, you know, remember something them, you know? In the morning, when we wake up, say we are going to go. Remember, say, hotel book, everything locked from the Tuesday, and on the Saturday, this know where we go. And Steve wake up throwing up.
Yeah, I did wake up throwing
up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, is this you telling us that we must just keep freaking quiet and stand our yard?
I was like, I'm not wasting this money because I already booked the hotel. I already booked everything, so I had it on my mind that I was going. So sorry, babe, I don't mean to, but in my back of my head, I was like, I don't want to go because one, I have to drive because Stephen cannot drive under his condition, but two, me was like, we only live once. Right. So
I forgot.
My big headed self was like, you know what? I'm gonna start off the day, and she was like, are we going? So I was like, yes, we're going. So I packed up our stuff. I got the stuff ready, and we was out the door, and I picked up the keys, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start the trip. You can drive when we coming back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna drive halfway to get out of the Maryland part at least. Cause the Delaware part easy.
It's the Maryland part we worried about.
Yeah.
That was a tough drive, you know. Delaware part is just straight up range. You just see all type of farms and stuff. But,
straight road.
But we got to this point where we was like, you know, I'm kind of hungry, you know. So we went to rural farms that was like literally between 95 and Delaware, and we get in there. I think I get like some yogurt or something else.
Yeah.
And that didn't agree with me on the trip. As soon as I ate it, I think like after 3 seconds I threw up.
Yeah.
Outside the door, and she was like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna switch spots, and I'm driving, and you sit.
At this point, I'm thinking to myself, we halfway there. Should we turn back?
Nah.
Or should we continue going?
Nah.
And I'm like, I want to live once, and I don't want to regret if something happens to him, and then I didn't take him where he wanted to go.
Oh, gosh.
So I said, all right, Lydia, gotta put your big girl panties on, and you're gonna have to drive.
Luckily, it was already like almost a little bit halfway down the road, so she didn't book the whole type of serious type of highways. We was already basically going to the farm range where we see all the type of
it was just like one straight road, but still it was a highway, and I've never driven myself, but I was determined to take my husband there because he wanted to go to the beach. I will have clips. If you remember, I'll put a clip there of me driving there. Then when we got there, we checked into the hotel. That was fine. And then we booked and go straight to the beach same time.
Right.
We got an Uber and went to the beach.
Yeah, because we wanted to go to the beach so bad, and you know what? We always usually drive there, but we have like 5-minute parking that we always have to go.
Yeah, the parking sucks by the beach.
That's horrible.
So, anyways, we went to the beach, and Stephen went in the water. I don't go into the water up here into America, into them beach water, because they are shark. So, one time I ever go in the water in America beach, and I went to go to Miami, because Miami water look like Jamaica water. Blue, you can see through it. It's not cold.
It's green. I don't know about blue.
Whatever. So me I touch America water, my love. So Stephen got in the water, and I was happy for him because he felt, you can say I'm happy and free. If I've clipped me, put it in. I think I videoed it because it made me tear up, because I'm like, you're out of the hospital and you're doing what you want to do.
And I was enjoying myself. I finally went to water. I'm a water guy. I love water.
Yeah, Stephen gonna anybody a water.
No, I don't go to anybody water. I just love water. Let's just keep it at that, okay? Alright. So
anyways, him splash and dash in the water and doing thing, and me a video, man, I laugh. I laugh at him too in a video and stuff like that.
Because the water was cold.
The water was cold, and I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? But listen, you see, when you almost lose somebody, it's like you have a total new respect or new outlook on life. And him do that and do that. So when I come out of the water now, I realize my walk towards me, I realize, say,
you see a little
him shots bloody. In the world
it's like nothing scratched up on you, right, Stephen?
Stephen, something bites you, something scratches you, feel pain?
Nah. You have to realize that I was currently under the medication for warfarin, and she was sticking in my stomach all the time. Literally, and sometimes my clot, that tells you that my blood was thin because I wouldn't clot in the area of the actual
injection.
Needle. So literally, it would start to bleed out.
And with the water,
I couldn't feel anything.
With the waves hitting him, that's like, it pretty much made him bleed. And anyway, we called the Uber. We rushed back to the hotel, and
we got some gauze.
We got gauze and stuff
from the local pharmacy,
and cleaned up. And I was just worried, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I mean, with the 2.5 hours out, suppose something happened to you. We don't know where the hospital. Then why did we come out here?
And then she started to take it on herself, and I'm like, no, it's okay. It stopped bleeding after a little while, but basically they told me that I'm not supposed to have any type of falling down incidents or any type of abrasions that's kind of rough, So that was one of it. The waves that was hitting like my mid torso area was the actual tough abrasions that made my lower area start bleeding. But I mean, afterwards, the next day we was okay. We enjoyed ourselves. We had like a little bite to eat. We went to our favorite spot that we usually go to, Krabby Dick's. If you ever try the spot, if you ever in Rehoboth Beach, please try out Krabby Dick's. It's really good.
And we went to the movies and all that stuff. It was a good weekend at the end of the day, and Stephen was able to drive back.
Yes.
Thank God.
That morning though, we went for breakfast, and we went to our favorite spot as well. I forgot what Crystals down the street, and we had breakfast. She had an omelet. She usually has like one of the best omelets you could.
But I thought about it, I'm hungry.
But I literally couldn't eat a thing because of the warfarin. It actually curbed my appetite to the point where I couldn't really eat that much. But I was forcing myself to eat, and literally was pushing me to eat too because she said I had to have 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
And I had myself some Raisin Bran, I think a banana, and some tea, and that was about it for the breakfast.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, it just goes to show you that one, you need to trust in God.
Yes.
Even if you have tears in your eyes while you're doing it, still trust.
Yes.
And two, value each day as we're on borrowed time. Nothing is promised to anybody. Tomorrow is not. The next 2 minutes is not promised to anybody.
Yes.
So, whatever purpose you're here to fulfill in your life, try to fulfill it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't procrastinate. I mean, I preach to myself right now.
Yeah, me too.
Don't procrastinate. Try to get it done and ensure that whatever purpose God put in you, it is fulfilled. Because in the blink of an eye, when you least expect it, you can either lose your life or end up in a situation where it cripple you or slow you down for a moment.
Right.
But anyways, the next step would have been our labor and delivery journey.
But pause right there. We're gonna pause this video and actually do a part 2. But if you want to see the part 2,
comment down below.
Comment down below. Let us know how you feel.
If you want to see part 2, part 2 is gonna be about what happened after Stephen got out and our labor and delivery testimony.
Right.
That filled with a whole bunch of other signs and wonders from God working in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me.
Yes.
That part dead.
Serious.
Woo! So, if you want to see that, comment down below.
Comment down below.
This is part 1. This is part 1. Cooling with the Crosbys.
Yes.
Thanks for checking us out.
Appreciate you guys.
Stay cool.
Stay cool.